Okay, so today will be a 2020 paper, which is the last one of the whole series, right? We done 2022, 2021, and today we're going to go through 2020 paper. Once again, I hope that you have already attempted at least take a look at a few of the questions. Okay, if you have not, then is still okay. You just take some notes, okay? Then today will be a notes taking session for you. All right. It is still very important to go through all these questions. Yeah. Okay. You can see me, right? You can see me, although because my video is off, but you can still see me. Interesting, right? Do you see? Notice my video is off, but you can still see me. Yeah, when I'm recording using the PowerPoint. Okay. All right. So without further ado, okay. So today we want to uh, um, cover question 29 to question 34. If you have the questions with you, that would be great, right? You can as you go by, you can write down notes, you can jot down the answers. So of course today again we are not interested in the answers, we're interested in the thinking process, in the key points to take note. Please take notes, yeah, please take notes. Okay, all right. So yeah, so once again, this is me again. Yay. All right, so this is me. More than, yeah. Okay, most of you already know me, so I'm just going to skip this. Okay, and let's come to, wait, how to skip? How can I go on? There you go. Okay, so today is question 29 to question 34, 2020. Again, once again, when I was looking through this paper, like 2 years back when I saw this paper, it was um it was pretty non-conventional. It was one of the year where they started to test quite a number of unconventional questions that you've never seen before, and and definitely as well as because they were questions they've never seen before, it stumped a lot of students, including teachers as well. Well, so we saw this over oh wow, there is a lot of very interesting questions inside. Okay, so we're going to go through them, and yeah, so please participate actively. Yeah. So as we go along, I want you to try to type in your answers into the chat if you can. All right, so that you can, so we can be aware of what we are actually thinking. Okay, so question 22, question 29 to question 34, PSA 2020. If you don't have the questions, don't worry, you just look at the screen. Okay, but don't be in a hurry to write down the answers. You can take screenshot if you want. Okay. All right. So without further ado, let's begin question 29. Let's go. Question 29. Hmm. Is it not moving? 29. How come it's not moving? Oh, there you go. Question 29. Okay, so the diagram shows a human body system. Yeah, the diagram shows a human body system. So identify the system and state the function of this system. I think this is quite straightforward, right? It is a state. This identify, it is a state. So there's no need to explain, right? There's no need to explain. It's just a simple, and this is a P. Can you just tell me what is this a P3 or P4 question? Right? It's either a P3 or P4. It's definitely a low block question, right? So if you have you have done this going to P3 before you will be able to answer this question, right? So identify the system and type it, state the function of this system. So type it into the chat. Type it in the chat. Okay, what is the system and state the function of it? Okay, type the system and state the function. We just type it in. What system is it? You can type in private, also can, doesn't matter. Okay, yeah. So what system is this? Circulatory system, right? Is a circulatory system. So what is the function of a circulatory system? What's the function of circulatory system? Yeah. Okay, so if you forgotten, all right? So the circulatory system basically is to transport oxygen, water, and digested food to all parts of the body, right? So, and also to transport waste material such as carbon dioxide away from all parts of the body. So you see that the function of circulatory system, there are two. Number one is to transport oxygen, water, or digested food. So some of us will miss out. Will miss out like certain things. Then you just say transport oxygen, maybe what digested food. So it's all the three, right? We need all air, food, and water, isn't it? So air, food, and water. So you transport oxygen, water, and digested food to all parts of the body, as well as you also transport waste materials. We also transport waste materials such as carbon dioxide away from the body. And where do we get this answer from? This is a very straightforward identify, a very straightforward state kind of question. So where do we get the answer from? Where do we get the answer from? Where can we get the answer from? So that we don't write wrongly. Where can we get? Oh, I see some of you, you are writing, you are telling me a very model answer. But where do you get that model answer from? Textbook, thank you, very good. Yeah, my pals are here. Don't throw away your textbook, okay? I hope you have not thrown away your textbook. Okay, so my pals are here. This is primary 3 and primary 4, right? Wow, you get a model answer from answer sheet. No, please do. Okay, so assuming you have never seen the question before, where would you get the question answer from? It's from the textbook, right? The textbook tells us that the circulatory system, right, is to carry digested food and oxygen and water to all parts of the body. You also carry waste materials, right, to away from the body. So this is from your textbook. If you throw yours away already, go Carousel and buy lah. If you cannot throw away your book until you finish your PSLE, okay, don't throw away your book. Okay, so this you just get an answer from the textbook. So do you need to read textbook or not? Actually, yes, need to, need to. Okay, yeah. Unless your teachers have given you a notes already, okay, then very good, then you don't have to. But otherwise, refer to your textbook, okay? All right, so name Y, I'm sure this one is you need to know, okay, everybody will know is the heart, okay, not going to go through this. Okay, so the part C. So other than Y, which is the heart, name two other parts of the system. So very quickly, come just type into the chat. Other than Y, just tell me what are two other parts of the system very quickly. Yeah, heart, blood, and blood vessels. So the other two parts will be just blood and blood vessels. This one very simple to. So you see, there are enough questions. There are easy questions that to give marks. So this question 29, there are 4 marks. It's a giveaway. There's no explain question. It's a giveaway mark. All right. So as long as you know the function of all these parts is a giveaway. All right. So, and that's it. Question 1, 4 marks just like that, right? So let's take a look at question 30. Question 30, the diagram shows fruits E and F, right? How are the seeds of E and F dispersed? And state 1 advantage of the method used by F to disperse its seeds. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so type into the chat. So how are the seeds E and F dispersed? Type into the chat. Come on. Yeah, by wind, and by E is by wind, F is by explosive action, right? Explosive action or splitting. Oh, you want to take picture? Oh, later lah. Okay, later. Later I'll go back. Okay. Okay, so E and F. Otherwise, I will upload it onto YouTube anyway. So the E and F are wind and splitting or explosive action. All right. So state 1 advantage. 2022 don't have. The recording was gone. Okay, state 1 advantage of the method used by F to disperse the seeds. Now, what is the advantage of F? The F, which is by splitting, what is an advantage? All right, can you just type into the chat? Type into the chat. What is the advantage of dispersal by splitting? What is advantage of splitting? I thought that generally for this seed dispersal, they want to disperse as far as possible, right? And we know that these two methods, this is by wind and the other one is by the By splitting, by wind it can be dispersed much further. By splitting is only very near to the parent plant, and it is not as good actually, right? But everything there's advantage and disadvantage. There's two sides to everything, right? So is it possible that dispersal by splitting also has an advantage, right? There is, isn't it? There is. So one advantage, but one advantage, oh yeah, there's no disadvantage. There is an advantage. So I was looking at the PSLE booklet. Yeah, the PSLE booklet they actually gave the answer key. Yeah, for those of you who bought from the from the popular, right? It comes with the PSLE answer, a suggested answer by the teachers. Why am I showing you this? Because in this answer, one of the answer given in the booklet is, oh, splitting of seeds will prevent overcrowding and reduce competition for nutrients, sunlight, water, and space. So this is one of the suggested answer. Okay, one of suggested answers is splitting of seeds prevents overcrowding and reduces competition for sunlight, nutrient, water, and space. So this is one suggested answer. What do you think about this answer? What do you think about this answer? What do you think about this answer? Is this answer good? Isn't this strong to say of that method? Yeah, this is a DNA answer. So when we saw this answer appearing in the PSLE suggested answers in your book that you bought, right? It is the book that you buy, right? So if you buy from PSLE now, you see this exact answer in the booklet, and this answer is actually an answer that's not accepted. Why is this not accepted? Because they're talking about this method which is for splitting. If you say splitting prevents overcrowding, how is it different from wind? Wind is also the same thing. Wind is also prevent overcrowding and reduce competition, right? So how is this by splitting an advantage? Okay, so cannot use external agents. I think is factor. I think is fine. Okay, so it does not need to depend on wind. Yeah, doesn't need to depend on wind. Caitlin said they cannot use agent, is it? Mm. Okay, so if you cannot use agent, then you change to factors, maybe. All right, so but basically you must be referenced to must refer to wind. Okay, because in this case you are comparing to the F, which is a dispersal by wind. So we want to make sure that you know you're comparing to wind and not other things. Okay, so bear in mind the answer given, the first answer given, to prevent overcrowding, there is no comparison with this wind, dispersal by wind. Okay, can? All right. So the next one, part C. So John conducted an experiment to find out if the amount of wind affects the distance moved by E as shown. Right, he repeated the experiment 5 times with all the factors kept the same except for one. So suggest two possible ways of varying this factor. Now, first of all, what factor is this? He repeated all the experiment 5 times with all the factors the same except for one. So this variable is a changed variable. What is this changed variable? Can you type the answer in the chat? What is the changed variable in this experiment? Thank you. Yeah, because it is from the start, right? From the question, it says you want to find out the amount of wind affects the distance moved by E. So the changed variable is the amount of wind, which means that we want to see how can we change the amount of wind from the fan? Type into the chat. Oh, I show answer. Cannot. Type into the chat. I can't undo it. Okay, so type into the chat. What could be some ways you can vary the factor? What are some ways you can vary the amount of wind? Type into the chat. What are some ways you can vary the amount of wind? Speed of the fan speed, any other possible answers? They want two ways. They want two ways. They want two ways. Okay? Change the number of fans, change the type of fan. Someone say change to a very expensive Dyson fan. Instead of one fan, put two fan. Now, this case, if you have written these two answers, change the number of fans or change the type of fans, what do you think about these two answers? How many marks would you give? 1 mark, 2 mark, 0 mark. I asked this question, meaning that there must be some reason why I ask this, right? Yeah, these are our 2 marks. 2 marks given, we want 2 possible reasons. So I've given 2, right? Change the number of fans and change the type of fans. This will affect the amount of wind. What do you think? Wow, Chen Yang very evil, you minus 1 mark. So the answer here, why is it? The type of fan is wrong. Why is it wrong? Why can't we change the type of fan? Or why can't we change the number of fan? And why not, right? Okay, these two are not good answers. Yeah, don't write these kind of answers. Why? We generally don't want to change the experiment. We don't want to change the equipment. So for example, you could say, oh, I'm doing an experiment. I'm doing an experiment at home. All right, I have a fan and then I have some seats. I want to find out how far they can go according to my fan. Then you say, go and buy a better fan. Your fan is so lousy. Correct. So I'll be very sad, right? I'll be very sad. Oh, I no money. You buy for me, oh. You go buy one for me, oh. See, you change the number of fans. Instead of one fan, you should have 3 fans. You buy for me, oh. So, but I don't have. So usually the idea is we use the existing equipment. We use the existing equipment. Okay. So yeah. So all factors as well. Yes, thank you, Alvin. All factors are the same, right? So all factors. So all factors are the same except for one, but you change the amount of fan, by right you can also change the the amount of wind. But as far as possible, we try not to change the equipment. Okay, so a better answer, yes, will be the fan speed. Change the fan speed. Don't just say fan speed. And you say wind speed is a 0, Chen Yang. Wind speed is a 0 because wind speed is the change variable. The amount of wind is how do you control? How do you control the wind speed? You can't control the wind speed, but you can only control the fan speed. You can control the 1, 2, 3, 4, but you can't control the wind, how fast that's by the fan. So you cannot control the wind speed, but you can control the speed of the fan. So if just wind speed without the fan, cannot. You must have the fan. Okay, so the wind speed of the fan. The second one would be the distance, right? Change the distance. If you just say the wind speed of the fan without the word change, I do not know what you can do with the wind speed. Okay, so do add in the word change the wind speed of the fan and also change the distance. Can? All right, so these two are possible answers. These are okay answers. All right. Okay, so let's go on to part D. So try. So the learning point for this question is try not to change the equipment of the experiment. Don't change it. Leave it as it is. We just make minor changes. Yeah. Don't say don't use this one. I'm going to change to an expensive one. No. We don't change the equipment. All right. Okay. Let's go to next question. So, any question? You got any question? Just type into the chat. At any time you have any questions you want to ask, you just type into the chat. Okay. So far, okay. Okay. Question 31. Okay, so the learning point for the previous one is don't change the question. Yeah, and also there was an error in the answer key. Okay, let's take a look at question 31. The diagram below shows how the substances are transported in a plant, right? And P and Q represents parts of the plant. The arrows represent the movement of substances G and H. So identify parts P and Q. Yeah, this is so easy. P, actually just type in the chat. What is P? What is Q? I'm sure you can do this. P is the stem, yep, and Q is the and Q is the leaves, right? You either see the leaf or the leaves, both are fine. This is okay. P is the stem and leaves. This is not an issue. So the second one, again, identify. So you see the common word is just identify. Identify, yeah? Identify the substances represented by H. and describe how the substances are moved in the plant. So you identify, yes, H is water and minerals. Is this water and minerals, correct? What's H? H, you see the H is a solid arrow, and the solid arrow comes from the roots. So looking at this, right? Is it you know, water and minerals? Is it correct? If it's written water and minerals, you are almost there, but it's still not correct. Can you tell me why is it wrong? Why is this answer wrong? Identify the substances represented by H. Why is it wrong? Water and minerals. Oh, you mean must say mineral salts? You mean the word salts is important? Is the word salt is important? Sugar is definitely wrong. So sugar is food. Food is sugar. So food is wrong definitely because the roots absorb water and mineral salt. So mineral salt, the word salt is important. Do not write without the word salt. If you write the word without salt, then you get it wrong. Okay, so with water and mineral salts. Okay, so the next question here is describe. Describe. When they ask for description, it means sequentially. Step 1, step 2, step 3. Okay, describe. You see this word describe. Describe how the substances move in your plant. In your mind, you must have a step 1, step 2, step 3. Step 1, what do they do? The roots absorb the water and mineral salts through the roots, right? Number step 2, then the water carrying tube will transport the water and mineral salts from the roots to all parts of the plant. So you must have steps. Step 1, step 2, step 3. So describing means sequentially what comes first, what comes next, and so on and so forth. Okay, so this is the key learning, the key point here. So this describe appears quite a number of times in recent years, and so we need to know what the meaning of describe. Yeah, the in sequence, what step 1, step 2, step 3. Okay, so in this case, step 1, roots absorb the water and mineral salts. Step 2, water can be transported from the roots to all parts of the plant. Okay, and then we get a mark. That's it. Okay, yeah. All right. Any questions so far? Can I? Am I going very fast? Am I going very fast? No lah. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, maybe we can. You need to type in a little bit. Okay, we'll go a little bit slower. Okay. Question 32. Question 32. Okay. Question 32. Oil is sprayed on stagnant water as shown. Explain how this prevents mosquito from breeding. Again, type answer in the chat. Come, I should give you all a little bit more time. Don't be too passive. Come, give you all a bit of time. Type in explain how this prevents mosquito from breeding. So this is one question, which means that the demand will not be too high. But explaining means that what does explain means? It means CER, right? You mean give a claim, evidence, and a reason for that. So so in this case, there's no claim that you need to give, but you need to give evidence based on what you see. You see the oil on the water, you see the mosquito larva. How does this prevent the mosquito from breeding? Type into the chat. Okay, thank you. You can type in the public as well. Yep, yeah, the mosquito larva will not be able to breathe and will die. Okay, the oil will prevent the mosquito from getting air. Okay, air. The mosquito, so it cannot breathe as there's oil over the air tube. So this oil is blocking the breathing tube. It's called a breathing tube. Okay, yeah. So this it blocks this air tube or breathing tube, and so you say air. I see a lot of you just say cannot breathe, cannot take air, cannot take oxygen. Type. Okay, thank you. Keyword here from the surrounding air. It's not just oxygen. If you just say, the mosquito larva is not able to take in oxygen, please write down from the surrounding air. It is not the dissolved oxygen. It's the oxygen from the surrounding air. It's the atmospheric oxygen. Okay, so it blocks the breathing tube and prevents the larva. Please say larva. Please do not say the mosquito. Cannot say the block the breathing tube and prevent the mosquito from getting the oxygen. Cannot. You must say the mosquito larva because it's labeled clearly. It's in the diagram, they label it as mosquito larva. Okay? So please do not please do not just write mosquito. Alright, so and it's also taking air from the surrounding oxygen from the surrounding air, and that's why the larva dies. Okay, will prevent. If you say the oil prevents oxygen from entering the water, thank you, Chloe. Thank you for your question. If you just say oil prevent the oxygen from entering the water, that is okay. But then your answer has no mention of the mosquito larva. Remember, when you are given a question, the CER, the evidence must be based on the diagram, right? And the question. And the question clearly labeled mosquito larva. And your answer has no mention of the mosquito larva. So it will not be complete. You will at most get a partial. And in this case, your partial is probably 0. Okay, in this case, your partial is probably 0. It's either a 1 mark or a 0 mark. So you have to make sure that the mosquito larva dies and is never not able to breathe. Okay, so Chloe, did you mention anything about the mosquito larva in your answer, or you only mention about oxygen getting the water? All right, if you just mention oxygen without mention of mosquito larva, cannot. Okay, cannot. All right, let's take a look at the part B. Part B is interesting. It's a very interesting question. Right, malaria is a disease spread by mosquito A, and children infected with malaria are found to be bitten more often by mosquito A. Right, and Joel wanted to find out if children infected with malaria are more attractive to mosquito A due to a certain smell they produce. Right, use a setup shown with 20 mosquitoes A in box P. Right, yeah. Okay, so Joel, he gave this diagram. So this diagram, they have the string mosquito A, box P, white shirt, worn by child infected with malaria. And Joel then counted the number of times mosquitoes landed on the shirt for 3 minutes. And he repeated the experiment using another shirt worn by an uninfected child in box Q. So part 1, state a hypothesis on how the smell of a shirt affects its attractiveness to mosquito A. Type into the chat. Come on, let's try. Type. What is a possible hypothesis? Type into the chat. Thank you. Thank you. A hypothesis is a reasonable guess. It's a reasonable prediction. It can be correct. It can be wrong. It does not matter. Okay, so but it is a reasonable guess. Can you type it into the chat? What do you think is a hypothesis how the smell of a shirt affects attractiveness to mosquito A? Into the chat. How the smell on the shirt affects its attractiveness. You cannot just say the smell affect its attractiveness. How does it affect? How does it affect? What would you predict it to be? How would you predict it? What would your prediction be? If you say it will affect, how would it affect? What is your hypothesis? What is your reasonable guess? Okay, so a reasonable guess, the smell of a shirt worn will attract more mosquito A. Okay, so at least you mention the smell of a shirt, you mention the attractiveness, you mention, okay, the stronger the smell, the more attractive it is. Okay, so in this question is very, very important for you to identify what is the change variable. The change variable, type into the chat, what is the change variable? Type into the chat, what is the change variable here? What is the change variable? It's very important. You must know the change variable. If you can't know the change variable, you get this question wrong already. Is it the presence of smell or is it the amount of smell? Is it the presence of the smell on the shirt or is it the amount of smell on the shirt? Because that will affect how you answer this question. The question is to state a hypothesis on how the smell of a shirt affects its attractiveness. So is it the presence of the smell or is it the amount of smell? Okay, it is presence of the smell, whether there is a smell or there is no smell. Understand or not? It is presence. So in this case, so if you identify it wrongly, you have gotten this hypothesis wrong. So one hypothesis could be the presence of the smell increases the attractiveness, right, to mosquito A. This is your guess. Is it true? We don't know, but it's a possible prediction, right? Another guess. The presence of the smell decreases the attraction. That means the mosquito don't like. Another possible answer, the presence of a smell on the shirt does not affect the attractiveness. These three are all possible answers. These three are all acceptable answers. Only one is correct, but the other two is wrong, but they are all possible hypotheses. You understand? Please do not send any other things, Chen Yang. Okay, so but if you have written as the stronger the smell, the more attractive it is to mosquito A, you have identified the change variable to be the amount of smell instead of the presence of smell. This will be wrong. Okay, the change variable is not the presence of shirt, it's the presence of smell on that shirt. It's not whether there's one shirt or there's no shirt. It's one shirt with the smell, one shirt without the smell. Understand? Both have the shirt. You're going to have two setup. Both have the shirt, but one has the smell, one has no smell. Okay? Correct? So hypothesis, identify the change variable correctly. The presence of smell and the amount of smell are two different things. Right? Just like sunlight, the presence of sunlight and the amount of sunlight, they are different change variables. Okay? So plus 2. Well, use a white shirt instead of a black shirt for the experiment. Suggest why using a white shirt allows him to obtain more accurate results. Type into the chat. What do you think? Why do you think using a white shirt allows him to obtain more accurate results? This word accurate appears many times in this paper and as well as the years that follow. Okay, so accurate, what is accurate mean? Remember? Do you remember what is accurate mean? Yeah. Yeah, thank you. So accurate means to be able to get the exact result. So for example, if the actual number of mosquito on the shirt is 16, you will count it as 16. You will not count it as 15. If the actual number of mosquito is 16 and you count 15 and say roughly the same, sorry, yes, it's roughly the same, but it is not accurate. It's not exactly what it's supposed to be. All right. So there's a few reasons why it's not accurate. Why it could be not accurate it could be the way that you do the measurement. Right? The way you do you take the measurement is not accurate. It is not good enough. You are not able to take the exact measurement because of your instruments or how you take the measurement. For example, you could be measuring the amount of water using a beaker instead of a measuring cylinder. As a result, you're not able to get the exact number. You give a rough number, so that is not accurate. Another one would be these shirts, right? Because the way you use the color of the shirt, you're not able to see the number of mosquitoes there accurately, right? You missed out one, so you are there but you're not quite there. So using a white shirt allows you to be able to see and count the mosquitoes easier. Okay, all right, so that is why. So accurate means to be able to get the actual result as it's supposed to be. All right. Okay, so a second possible reason here is it's more difficult to see and count the mosquitoes as they blend in to the color of the black t-shirt. Now, so if you use a black t-shirt, it is very difficult to see. Right? If you try to catch mosquitoes around you, you know how difficult it is to catch a mosquito when it's against a very dark background. Okay, so again, this one a point to take note. I was looking at the answer key in the PSLE booklet, and they use the word in this answer, they says the word camouflage. They say it is more difficult to spot. Is the visibility of the mosquito is due to the mosquitoes being camouflaged by the black color of the shirt. Now, camouflage, you need to explain the meaning of camouflage. You cannot just say camouflage as it is. So if you follow the answer key and just say camouflage, chances are you will have marks deducted, not incomplete, because you must explain the meaning of camouflage, which is to blend into the color, surrounding color. Okay, just like when you talk about other things, you talk about a good conductor of heat, you need to explain the meaning of a good conductor of heat. We talk about the material is a strong material. You need to explain the meaning of strong, right? Able to hold weight without breaking, right? So you need to explain it. So camouflage, you need to explain the meaning of camouflage, which is to blend into color of the surrounding, which is black. Okay, so it makes it more difficult to see, and chances are you may miss out one, miss out two, you won't get the exact answer. All right, so this is accuracy. All right, so that's wrong. Okay, next one. So scientists are now able to store, wow, they are able to store, they store the smell into a container. All right, suggest how Joel can use the smell and reduce the number of bites on people. So he used this thing, right, and he realized that, oh, the shirts in box P is the one with the shirt infected with malaria. The shirt in box Q is the one that is the not infected with malaria, right? Remember the previous diagram? Okay, so P is the one with malaria, and they found that, oh, there's more mosquitoes landing on it, which means that the mosquitoes are actually attracted to the smell. So with this in mind, how can we use this smell to reduce the number of bites on people? So this is a rather like open-ended, and it is some kind of a creative answer you can think of. There is no really right, no wrong, as long as you are able to give some kind of sensible answer. Okay, so a possible answer here. You want to try typing into the chat? How would you use this smell? Yeah, use the smell to trap mosquito. Okay, you need to elaborate a little bit more how you use the smell to trap mosquito. Okay. Elaborate a little more. For example, okay, so you can, example, we use the smell to lure the mosquitoes away. So you put it somewhere close, right? The mosquitoes will be lured away so that people do not get uh, um, bitten by mosquitoes so easily. Okay, so I mean, them gather, okay, and use insect repeller on that. Might as well use insecticide. Okay, so this is one possible answer. There are also other possible answers, but of course you must give a logical one. You cannot say, oh, put the smell very, very, very far away from the people. You put it very, very far away, then you will not help the people that is, you know, at all. For example, I'm now in in Ang Mo Kio, and then you put a smell in Toa Payoh, you too far away lah, doesn't affect, right? Right, so too far is no use. Okay, lesson 33. Two more questions to go. Let's take a look. So bees are commonly found near flowering plants, and describe how the bees can help plants to reproduce. Again, and you see this word. Can you see what's the first word here? Describe again, right? Describe. So if you say, remember what is the meaning of describe? What's the meaning of describe? Tell time in the chat. What's the meaning of describe? It means to have steps. Step one, step two, step three, right? Sequence. What is the sequence of events? Step one, step two, step three. Correct? If you just say that, oh, the bees help the plants to pollinate the flowers, what are the steps? What's the steps? There's no steps, right? So step one, pollinate, full stop. That's not describing. So what is step one? So what is the meaning of pollination? Yeah, this is a DNA. You are not describing. You're just telling. You're telling me. You're not describing. No step one, step two, step three. So to pollinate, what is the steps? Number one, step one, the bees must go to the anther. Step two, must transfer the pollen grain from anther away. Step three, land on the stigma. Right. So you must describe which is to transfer pollen grain from the anther, and then you go to the stigma. So that is the sequence of event. You cannot just say pollinate full stop. That is a zero. Okay, yeah, that's just purely stating, not describing. Okay, so Jia Xun investigated the effect of substance N on bees with two containers R and S using a circular cage. Right, she then introduced bees into the cage and closed the opening, and she counted the number of times the bees visited. Right, suggest how the arrangement of containers allowed for a fair test. So she wanted to see which container will attract more bees, right? So they have this setup, one with sugar water, and a substance N. So how is this a fair test? So the question here again, this word is a very important one, is called fair test. What is the meaning of fair test? The word fair test, the word fair test is important. We have to understand what's the meaning of fair test. Fair, experiment is fair if all the constant variables that you're supposed to keep the same are kept the same. All right. If all the variables that you're supposed to keep the same are kept the same, it is a fair experiment. But if something is not, some constant variable is not kept the same, it is not a fair experiment. So in this case, by arranging the containers this way, which variable is kept the same? You have to identify which variable is kept the same. So I have this in the blank here, keep what the same. This is the variable that you're going to keep the same. Okay, so the variable is the distance of the entrance to the containers. Okay, part C. Describe how the substance N affects the number of times bees visited both containers from day 1 to day 10. So again, do you see describe? Yeah, describe. Okay, I want to describe. Okay, good. Cool. All right, so I'll describe how substance N affected the number of times. What is part B again? Later, I cannot go back now. Okay, so the number of times the bees visited containers with substance N increases from day 1 to day 10. Wait a while. Distracting. Okay, so the number of times the bees visited the container with substance N increases from day 1 to day 10. How do you think about this answer? Yeah? Okay, so if you say, what do you think? How many marks do you think this answer will award? DNA, you're right, it's DNA. Why is it DNA? Why is DNA describing the substance, and this question have a lot of information, and you're given a table, a graph. A graph, what is very important is the headings. The number of times visited the container, and number two, the day. Why is the previous answer wrong? Because there's no comparison. You have not comparing between the what happened in day 1, what happened in day 5, what happened in day 10. It's not asking you about it's not about the number of times increases over the days. You should be comparing with container R. You should be comparing R with S. R with S. In the previous answer, there was no comparison with the two containers. You have to compare. Okay? Oops, I cannot go back already. Sorry. Okay, so you must have comparison in the answer. There must be comparison. In day 1, the is the same. In day 5, what's the difference? In day 6, and what's the difference? In day 10, what's the difference? There must be a comparison. Okay? Yeah, so that is the learning point there. Oh, so sorry. I cannot go back. I do not know why I cannot go back. Because, yeah, I don't know why. I don't have this function to go back. So sorry about that. Okay, question 34. Okay, watch out for the video replay. I'll post up a video replay after this. Okay? I mean, by next week. Okay, last question. Jaden placed the same amount of pond water which contained tiny organisms into two identical glass containers A and B. He pointed container B black, right? So he placed both containers at the same place under bright light and measured the amount of oxygen in each container daily, right? Explain why the amount of oxygen in A increased while the amount of oxygen in B decreased. So this one again is explain. What does explain mean? CER, right? Evidence, claim, evidence, and reason. So the make sure that you give an evidence. All right. So this answer, the clear lead allow the light to pass through. So the light, there's light for it to photosynthesis and produce oxygen. And the other one is black lead and container block light. So there's no light for photosynthesis and cannot take in oxygen. This answer, what do you think? I wrote this answer, but it is a DNA answer. Do you know why this is wrong? Do you know why this is wrong? It is actually a very small error, but do you know why this is wrong? Just type in the chat, why is this wrong? It's wrong because there's no mention of container A and no mention of container B in the answer. No mention at all. So to make this answer correct, very simple. You just add in the word container A and container B. All right. So in container A, the amount, the clear light lead and container allow light to pass through, so there's light for photosynthesis. Right. In container B, the light black lead block light, so there's no light and cannot photosynthesize and therefore take in oxygen. All right. You don't have to mention respiration. Respiration is not tested in syllabus. Okay. So you do need to make sure that you make reference to the question. If they're asking about container A, you mention container A. They talk about container B, you mention container B. All right. Okay. So the last part is question to container A and B. Right, suggest a possible reason that Jaden could have obtained inaccurate result. Again, accurate. This word accurate appears so many times in this paper, right? So what is the meaning of accurate again? For you to be able to get the exact result as you're supposed to get. And there are two reasons why you can get inaccurate result. Number one, some constant variables is not really kept constant. Kind of unfair really. So because you didn't really keep all constant variables constant, you didn't get what you are supposed to get. Second, because of the way you take your measurement, is not good. So in this case, what could be a possible reason that you didn't get the actual result that's supposed to get? You look at this one. So what could be not the same? Okay, it could be the number of organisms because it's just scooped from the water. The number of organisms in both the container may not be the same. All right, so we're going to think and squeeze our brain juice in what could be a possible constant variable that's not kept constant in this experiment. All right, so this could be the possible reason. Okay, I think that's it for this thing. Yeah, so thank you for joining me. The next, just to remind all of you who have not signed up for the June holiday program, if you want to sign up, please sign up very quickly. We are for especially for P6, our slots are really left only a few. So do let us know if you are joining. Please do not sleep too much during the June holidays. You need to revise. Okay, don't come back. By the time you go to you go to June holiday, you have a good rest, you have a good break, play a lot of handphone game. By the time you come in July, everything forgotten. Good luck to you. You need a lot of luck. Okay, so do if you are available, do join us for this June holiday program. We also have a very intensive PSLE intensive preparation. It stretch over 3 weeks of preparation. We study with you. Okay, so if you are willing to join us, okay, do join us for this. We will be studying with you for 3 weeks. This is the last shot we're going to do it. Okay, and just go to our website or give us a SMS to get more information. Okay, so now we're going to end here. I'm really overshot by a couple minutes. We're going to continue this. Oh yeah, join our Facebook. All right, do join our Facebook as well as join our TikTok. We're going to go to TikTok live in just a minute. All right, we're going to do MCQ 2020 for the first 14 questions. All right, and next week we will be doing the second part of 2020. All right, and I'll see you again next week. Please come back next week. Okay, that will be the last episode for this whole series. All right, okay, so that's all for today, and see you all again. Bye. Yes, thank you, amigos. Bye bye. Good night, everybody. See you on TikTok. Bye bye.